Hello and welcome back to the channel The Wounded Healer. My name is Andreas and today we'll be talking a bit about the inner critic. I don't know if you've seen a video about the inner child work, but if you do the inner child work, you might wrestle with some of the inner critic work. But in this video we'll be talking more specific about the inner critic. So the inner critic is a typical complex post-traumatic stress syndrome, or what to say. It's very common. I would guess that everyone who has it has an inner critic. So how that worked for me was like, some say the inner critic. They mention the inner critic like the horror movie producer that is always thinking the worst is gonna happen always. And another one said that he was the terrorist, the inner terrorist. And for me, I would say that it was my inner Hitler. Like he was always on my ass telling me how lazy I am, or how I couldn't do that thing perfect and it looks like shit, or just constantly on my ass telling me how bad I am. So that was a dialogue that was quite constantly running in the background of my head. And at that time, for many years, like probably I would guess like 30 years or something, that was my inner dialogue. Like I didn't even reflect on it. I thought it was natural, or that everyone had this all the time, but turns out that it's not. It's not supposed to be like that actually. So I'm a bit surprised that I had that for so long, and that no one noticed that, or could help me, or somehow, or that that information didn't reach to me, even though I was even talking to a therapist there for a year. And so I feel like the trauma information in the society, or that we never talk about this stuff, is very bad, and that we should get a lot better. So that is basically why I'm doing these videos. So the inner critic is basically a super ego that has gone bad. It is supposed to be there to protect you, but I think of it like a program, like in a computer, that it's there to help you, but something along the way gets messed up. And it's kind of like that program, the Merovingian, if you've seen The Matrix. I think it's the second movie. And basically a program gone bad. So enough about that, but so how it works, it's you often now I can talk a little bit about where it stems from, where it comes from. It's typically spawned in a danger-ridden childhood home. whether the danger comes from a passive abandonment of neglect or the active abandonment of abuse. Yeah, basically the parent could not provide safe enough bonding or positive feedback, and what happens is a child flounders in anxiety and fear. So that is kind of the origin, the feeding ground that creates the inner critic. Yeah, and yeah, like I said, often complex PTSD, us that has that or have had it or so forth, we are called survivors. And I can speak for myself there that when I was the sickest, I probably had like 10% life force left, so there was not much life force left in me. I was probably pretty close. I was super skinny, and I was just eating an apple a day. So yeah, so we are survivors. So yeah, strive on there. Let's see, and yeah. So how do these? I will just mention the most common inner critics attack, and I will just mention those. But with every attack here, you can have a counter attack. But I will just read them out loud first and see if you recognize them. So there is perfectionism attacks. Perfectionism, all or none, black and white thinking, self-hate, self-disgust, and toxic shame. Micromanaging, worrying, obsessing, looping, over-futurizing. Unfair, devaluing comparisons to others or to your most perfect moments. Guilt. Shoulding. Overproductivity, workaholism, busyholism. That one was very much for in my case. Harsh judgments of self and others. Name calling. And then we have the endangerment attacks. Drasticizing, catastrophizing, hypochondrizing. Sorry about my English. Negative focus, time urgency, disabling performance anxiety, perseverating about being attacked. Yeah, so I'm just making examples here for you to recognize, but you can always counterattack like perfectionism. Yeah, my perfectionism arose as an attempt to gain safety and support in my dangerous family, for example. So you can explain that kind of for yourself there. So yeah. Shame is blame unfairly turned against the self. That is what happens with the inner critic. Parents are too big and too powerful. to blame, for example, so we had to blame ourselves instead. So what you can do to shrink the inner critic is that actually it's once I found that out, I didn't know that you could do that, but one method is that you can actually talk to your inner critic, and I would suggest that you you talk to him and you explain, like I just did with perfectionism, for example, or why you're working so much, and explain and talk gently to the inner critic, and try to shrink him. And at first you can be quite nice to him and try that out, and but as further as you go along, and you can become a bit more harsh, like you can put your anger there, the anger that you have, you can put that towards the inner critic, so you can basically what you can do is like, shut up, that's not nice. You can work like that. You can actually become angry and just tell him straight off that I'm not having it anymore. I'm done with this. I'm not. I am worthy of so much more. This is just the situations that I have been through that has created this inner critic. So yeah, that's what I did, and also what actually helped me a lot in the end was doing magic mushrooms that helped me resolve a lot of the inner critic issues as well, because in that comes I learned the mushrooms, they know intuitive what you need to learn, so it can be a good experience or it can be a bad experience, but whether or not, the mushroom don't care. It teaches you what you need to be taught. So with that comes that it's bad and good. But what was the most what helped me the most is that I really cried myself self-love, like a total, like a full ocean. So yeah, and I went through the dark night of the soul, and that is what. So I'm talking a little bit about. You can also, yeah, I'm into shamanism as well. If you have seen my other videos, so we're talking there about soul loss. So you can also work with dreaming your soul back. If you go to a good shaman, he can dream your soul back. So that is soul loss is what I'm talking, is what they talk about also. So that is one way, I guess. And some of us go through the dark night of the soul, like I said, and that is also a way of resolving these issues. So basically, what you want to do to get rid of the inner critic is to always keep working on yourself, on your mental health, on grounding meditation, breathing, all of this stuff. Like bettering yourself, developing yourself always. Sorry. So yeah, and today I don't it's kind of quiet in my head actually, but sometimes the inner critic pops up, rarely, but when I do, I notice immediately, and I observe it. I'm the observer, not as before, like it was basically constantly, and I thought it was like me, but now I'm the observer looking at him, and sometimes I ask him politely, and sometimes I snap him off like shut the hell up, like that's just not acceptable. Like I said, sometimes he pops up, and that happens when I am stressed, or hungry, or maybe I'm working, but even though I'm sick. So yeah, these are a clear sign for that tells me to that you should stress down and calm down, and maybe do that task another day when you have gotten better sleep, or yeah. So yeah, you get the point. So yeah, that's basically what I had about that. Uh, that's mixed with some of my own experience. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to go about. I will also do a video on the outer critic, so that will probably be the next subject. And yeah, if you want to learn more specifically about the complex post-traumatic stress syndrome, I recommend reading Pete Walker, From Surviving to Thriving is a book that is excellent. He has also had complex PTSD, and is now working very specifically with that. So that is a great book to start with. Okay, that's it from today. Thank you for watching. All the love to you. Bye bye.